What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with some free agency rumors, some buzz out there, because that's just the way the offseason works. Every couple of days, a fan base picks a new player to talk about for a few days and talk about signing him potentially. So we got a new round of that. We've also got some injury news to hit on, but we got some free agency rumors to get to. Andrew Berry, of course, going to be busy this offseason. Calculated. He doesn't have $90 million to spend. He only has one or two bullets in the chambers, and he has to make them count. Now, before we look at the two names on today's show, I do want to give you guys this injury update from Myles Garrett after the Pro Bowl. He tweeted out today, me reading the Pro Bowl script, which has just been hilarious if you haven't seen that. A picture of him looking at his phone like, what the fuck? And he said, appreciate everyone checking in. We are all good over here. Go Browns. And then Ian Rappaport quote tweeted that and said, no surgery necessary. The dislocated toe popped right back into place. Short recovery time. So very good to hear that. It should be smooth sailing for the offseason workouts for Garrett in April, May, June, and so forth. But before we get into Allen Lazard and Dre'Mont Jones, I do want to hear a little bit of like a pulse test right now, okay? Do you want the Browns to be active in free agency? If so, like today's video, hit that thumbs up icon, send a little bit of a signal boost, a little bit of a message to everyone in Berea of, hey, let's make some moves in the month of March. Now, let's start the show off really by looking at this guy from the Green Bay Packers, Allen Lazard. So, CBS Sports picked one free agent for each team that they should sign. And for Cleveland, they picked the wide receiver from the frozen tundra, Allen Lazard. He's coming off a career-high season in receiving yards with 788. Pro Football Focus ranked him the 50th best wideout out of 116 qualifying players. When you look at what he's done the last 4 seasons, pretty much his whole career, he only played one game his rookie season. 788 yards this past year, like I mentioned, a career high, 6 touchdowns. You can see a progression year after year, right? Especially in the volume and usage. From 33 grabs to 40, all the way up to 60. Definitely helped that Davante Adams was not on the team in 2022, so he was the go-to guy. But when you look at the free agent market for wide receivers, I've spoken at length about this before. It's bad. I think JuJu just kind of sucks, and if that's the best name, we've got an issue. Jakobi Meyers, I think, is sneaky good. Pretty decent Matt Patricia offense last season. Lazard, I'm not crazy about. I like DJ Chark. Probably going to get too much money for the Browns, though. And then there's Parris Campbell, the local who we'll talk about a little bit later on. But when it comes to Allen Lazard and the possibility of signing him, if I had to project what a contract could look like for him in free agency, what about a 3-year, $40 million deal? That's an average of $13.3 million. Some think he could get a little bit less than that, but the market's so bad for receivers that he might get a Christian Kirk-esque contract where, is he worth all that? No. Is there anyone really better? Not really. The Browns have probably about $35 million to spend. That number is going to be fluid, but that's over a third of your cap space going to one player. Someone I don't really like. I mean, broken record time here. I've said it before, but I'm going to continue to say it because that's the offseason for you. I want a speedy slot receiver. That's not Allen Lazard, right? You see his slot percentage of snaps go down each and every single season. That's not the way he was utilized in Green Bay. The Iowa State product, I don't think, fits what the Browns really need on offense all that well. Now, I have heard a lot of buzz around this guy here, Parris Campbell, former second-round pick out of Ohio State. And for how bad the Colts were last season, for him to come away with 623 yards and 3 touchdowns when he wasn't even the team's number 1 receiver, does make you wonder. Now, that could be a name worth looking into because he's going to be a lot cheaper than Allen Lazard. He actually fits what you're looking for in a receiver. Plus, there's nothing better than signing the hometown kid, right? We all love that. Now, before we get to the next player on today's show, Athletic Greens is our proud sponsor today. So, I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Why? Because you get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I recently gave AG1 a try because I just don't like taking pills or vitamins, and I actually wanted a supplement that tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel ready to take on my day. It also really helps with starting the day on the right foot and getting into a healthier lifestyle. See, I start the day with making one great choice, AG1, and then more healthy decisions follow. Covering my nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why I trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water, drink it first thing each morning, and it's done. I also like that it costs less than $3 a day, which is pretty good if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality source ingredients, so win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Check it out. I've got that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. There's some great benefits that come with it, like promoting gut health, supporting your immunity, along with boosting your energy. So check them out, athleticgreens.com/chatsports in the comments and the description of today's show. So speaking of today's show, let's get on to the next player here, and that is Dre'Mont Jones. So the former Ohio State Buckeye is set to be, in my opinion, one of the better free agent defensive ends on the market this season. He's also a Cleveland native, right? Went to St. Ignatius High School, went to Ohio State, former third-round pick, went to the Denver Broncos, and the rumors on the web are that he looks like he might be leaving Denver. Now, they could franchise tag him, and that's going to run him up a bill close to $20-ish million, but I don't think the Broncos are really in a position to do that. And I think if he tests the open market, he might be leaving mile high here. I want to share with you guys a screenshot of this from Twitter because this is kind of taken on a life of its own. It's a picture of Russell Wilson and his new head coach, Sean Payton, walking, and the quote tweet says, "Hey, are we going to be able to say Broncos country, let's ride? I think we can run it back now." And then Derek Wolfe, who used to play for the Broncos, replied to that tweet. And here's what Derek Wolfe said: "Never was, never will be cool." Dre'Mont Jones liked that tweet. That's a bit awkward, right? There has always been some sort of rumors to maybe players not meshing with Russell Wilson all that well. And here's Dre'Mont Jones saying, liking a tweet, and it's just that, liking a tweet, saying never was, never will be cool in terms of saying Broncos country, let's ride, which we all know is Russell Wilson's patented line. Now, Dre'Mont Jones, statistically, since 2019, he's gotten consistent. He's been solid, right? He hasn't gone off for a double-digit sack season, but he's also been on a Broncos team that's had a lot of injuries. I think they're the most injury-plagued team in the last 3 years in terms of players on IR. But he's been rock solid, 6.5, 5.5, 6.5 sack seasons, and not as a starter. You had Bradley Chubb and Von Miller there for a little bit. Then Von Miller got traded. They signed Randy Gregory. He got hurt. So there's always been some fluidity to the defensive end position for the Broncos, but Dre'Mont Jones has not been a 16, 17 game starter really ever in his career for an entire season. And then there's this, which is something that keeps me up at night, and that is the fact that the Browns cannot get a Robin, a second guy for Myles Garrett to line up opposite with. Look at the Browns sack leaders every single season outside of Myles Garrett. The fact that Taven Bryan was second with 3 sacks last year is a fireable offense. And that's why Joe Woods partially got fired, okay? Last year, Clowney was rock solid 9. Olivier Vernon, it's a bummer he got hurt, 9 sacks. Thought he could really turn into something. You had Ogunjobi for 2 straight seasons at 5.5 sacks. That's from the interior defensive tackle spot. Then there's James Burgess, which is just the definition of name a random Brown with 4 sacks back in 2017. He only lasted in the league for 4 seasons, I think. But the fact is the Browns have never been able to get a consistent Batman-Robin kind of combination with Myles Garrett, and it would be awesome if Dre'Mont Jones could maybe do that. Now, if I had to project his contract, Spotrac does project a contract for some guys, and they were really harsh on Dre'Mont Jones. I think he's going to get upwards of $10 million. 4-year, $50 million contract. That's an average of $12.5 million. Maybe it's a bit rich for a guy who's never gone over 7 sacks in a season, but I think the feeling across the NFL is he's really ready to break out onto the scene, and he could be a nice addition. So I'm okay with signing Dre'Mont Jones as long as Andrew Berry pinky promises to get the Browns a real run-stopping defensive tackle in the draft, which he hasn't really had a great track record of drafting defensive tackles. So we can't say with absolute certainty that he's going to go out and find one, but as long as he promises to go out and get a real run-stopping defensive tackle, yeah, I like signing Dre'Mont Jones. Now, between Jones and Lazard, the two players we talked the most on today, if you had to pick one to sign, who would it be? I'll give you my answer in just a moment, but let me know in the comments section below. My pick is Dre'Mont Jones. One, he's just better than Allen Lazard, right? And I'm in the business of getting good football players. And Dre'Mont Jones is a good football player. I think Allen Lazard sort of benefited and rode the coattails of playing alongside Davante Adams, who attracts so much attention, and having a back-to-back MVP quarterback. So for that, I'll go Dre'Mont Jones. Now, if he goes out to free agency and he starts getting close to 15-ish million a season, I don't know if the Browns are going to be in those sweepstakes. I don't think he'll take an actual discount to come back to the Buckeye State. But if two teams offer him the same amount, maybe he decides to go to the Browns then because he wants to come back to Northeast Ohio. On yesterday's show, we had an interesting question for you all, which is to scale us as a channel 1 to 10 and let us know what feedback you guys have so that we can do things better here at the channel. And here's some of the feedback you guys gave. One, I can't believe this was asked, but non-polo shirts on non-game days. I wouldn't hold your breath on that. I'm a simple man. In my closet, it's not going to change anytime soon. Really won't change until Christmas because that's when all my clothes come in. Someone suggested later live shows in the 7 to 8 p.m. range. Let me know what you guys think about that. It could be a little bit difficult to get it that late because I've got other responsibilities here at Chat Sports, so that would mean I have to come in a little bit later, and I don't think the bosses are going to sign off on that. But I do like the idea of maybe doing, right now we're at 4 p.m. Eastern. I could talk about pushing it back to 5 o'clock Eastern. Does that fit people's schedule better? Let me know. We got a lot of 10s, though. For everyone that put 9, 10, all that good stuff, thank you very much. Really loved reading all those very kind comments. And as always, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. That's going to do it for us on today's show. As always, you know how I like to end my videos. If you haven't already, hit me up on Twitter at MatthewPD. Tweet at me your free agency, your draft takes, questions, all that good stuff. I'll make sure to reply.